Good morning, guys. So today I wanted to explain the life cycle comparison essay that you might have seen posted onto Google Classroom the other day. This essay for the 2018-2019 school year is due on May 20th. So you have about a week and a half to work on it. And I have posted several different resources for you in that assignment, as well as a template to use on Google Docs. So what are you going to do? You are going to write a 3 to 4 paragraph essay. 3 to 4 paragraphs, don't even worry about the essay part, but just 3 to 4 paragraphs explaining and comparing and contrasting the different life cycles that we've experienced this year. So we've looked at some plant life cycles, just a little bit, and I'll explain it more in class, but we have some corn growing in our room. We've had other experiments with plants. We observed the chickens hatching in their eggs with the first graders. We have our butterflies. We are humans, and we know our life cycle that we go through infancy and childhood and then to adulthood. We have our mealworms, which some of them have turned into the beetles, and we have our tadpoles, which hopefully will turn into frogs. So you're going to take those 6 different organisms and you're going to compare and contrast their life cycles. So let's look at this one poster of butterfly. Butterfly starts as an egg, goes to the larva caterpillar, then to the chrysalis or pupa stage, and then to the adult butterfly. The mealworms go in the exact same life cycle. They have an egg, they go into the mealworm, they go into the pupa, which is that like white looking mealworm thing, kind of looks frozen, and then it turns into the beetle. Frogs are the same thing. They have their eggs, then they turn into a tadpole, then there's a tadpole without gills, then there's the tadpole with legs, which we haven't really seen yet. Then you get a froglet because it has a little mini tail, and then the adult frog. So we're still here, tadpole, and tadpole, maybe some without gills, but we really don't have the tadpole with legs yet. But you can still see the cycle that it goes through. Now, how are the frogs and butterflies or mealworms similar? Well, they both start with eggs. They both go to a next stage. Now, a butterfly and a mealworm really only has 4. The frog has 6 stages, so that's something that could be different about them. When we think about plants, plants start as seeds, and then they start to what we call germate or germation. So they start to get their roots, and they start to grow their stem a little bit more. Then they might get their leaves. Some plants are going to have flowers. And then eventually, to get new plants and new seeds, you're going to have pollination, which is why bees are so important. Here's just another different life cycle of the frogs. And here's some pictures for our mealworms that we had, and our chickens as well. So the chickens start with the egg, and usually a mother hen is going to sit on the egg and help it cook and, cook. They're not cooking the eggs, but to grow and keep warm. And in our case, we have them in an incubator. Then they'll hatch and turn into little chicks, and then they turn into an adult chicken. And then eventually, if it is a hen and not a rooster, then it'll have the egg and be able to start the cycle all over again. So we can see that the eggs are different in the chicken versus the mealworm or the butterfly or the frog. Here's just another example of our butterflies, specifically the ones we're observing in class, our painted lady. So by the time we got them, they were right about here, and now they're getting to be really big. And actually this morning, they started to curl up and look like a J because they'll be turning into their chrysalis. And then here's an example of our adult life cycle. We all know that we're infants, and then we're toddlers and little kids, and this is kind of in between where we are now, primary school kids and tweens, and then turning into teenagers, and then you become an adult and got a lot of responsibilities. So we have this essay. So I'm going to pull up the document, and I already gave you a full school heading. So if you started to type, what are you going to say? Well, you can start comparing about frogs and chickens in your human life cycle. You're going to do that in about 3 to 4 paragraphs. So you might want to list the frog life cycle. Then you might want to list the chicken. Then you might want to list the human. List the beetle. List the butterfly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. I'm missing 1. Which one are we missing? Frogs, mealworm, beetle, butterfly, chicken. Oh, our plant life cycle. So you might want to take a paragraph or two and list every single life cycle stage out first. And then you can go back and start comparing the eggs of the blah, 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 blah. So you get the idea. Compare the eggs. Compare their next stage. Do they all have like a childhood stage? Do they all go to like a teenager? Do some of them have multiple stages? Is it just egg, one stage, and then adult? Talk about those differences and those similarities. Okay? Then when you're done, you would click Turn In, and I would see that you have turned it in on my end of Google Classroom. So once again, it's due May 20th, 2019 for the 2018-2019 school year of this comparison essay. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. All right, bye guys.